I think every off season has its challenges. I don't think we're no different than any other team, Patrick. I think that our group, meaning our players and our front office, realize what's ahead of us and the expectations. And I know that our players are gearing up for that. And I know that Jeff and his guys and Dick even are ready to strike for certain players' trades that might occur to help us. So, I don't know whether crucial is the term, but every offseason is important for shaping your club and shaping the environment that you want to create going into spring training.
Coming off the playoffs, what are you feeling about your club? What is it going to take to get to the next level?
Well, it was a good first step for us last year. Having the season that we did, it was great for Nolan, Charlie, DJ, Cargo, our young pitching staff. Rockies who have been only Rockies to go through last season. That should be a great confidence builder for these players and the guys that came in. Holland and Desmond. McGee came the year before, but these guys had been around playoff baseball. So I think collectively it was good for the group because the original Rockies who hadn't been through it, the guys that we acquired had been through it. So I think it was a nice situation to come together as a team. Now we got to continue that, that aspect of team moving forward, even with the guys that we acquire this off season, or try to acquire.
Going into last year, you had general expectations of how your team would perform in certain facets.
Right.
What did your team do better than expected and not as well as expected?
I think they're, the offensive aspect of our group, from the year before, from 16, I think that was, that played out how we expected it. We led a lot of offensive categories. If we didn't lead a lot of offensive categories, we were, in the top, 3, 4, 5. I mean, we had a good offensive year. Obviously Charlie had a great year. Nolan had a great year. DJ hit over 300. We had guys have great spurts of weeks during the course of the season. Probably where we exceeded expectations were, in our total team pitching, especially the younger group of starting pitchers that we ran out there for a lot of games in the early part of the season when Bettis was down, when Anderson was down, when Gray was down. Freeland, Sensatella, Marquez, Hoffman, started a lot of games for us and performed. I think our bullpen in general pitched really well, especially the first 4 months of the season. So we probably exceeded, I think the national expectation. And I don't know whether we exceeded our own because I thought, going in, once I saw these guys in spring training, that we could pitch well, and we should pitch well. That was my thought. I thought we played good defense. You look at what we did defensively as a team, our team defense, our infield defense, 2 Gold Glovers. You look at all the defensive metrics, I thought we did very well there. Where we could have done a little bit better was, a little bit on, some of the walk to strikeout ratios. I think, that was something that, I think we need to improve on going into next year. But overall, it was a pretty good year for us.
Buddy, I talked to Chris Iannetta actually this morning.
I talked to him yesterday.
He told me that.
Or actually 2 days ago. What's today? Today's Monday. I talked to him Saturday night. How'd he sound?
Chris told me that compared to when he was first with the Rockies, he thinks in terms of handling pitchers, pitch framing, all of those things, he's heads above Rockies. I'm sure you have looked at him and
Yeah.
seen what you're getting. What are your impressions of Chris
Yeah.
coming back to Colorado now at almost age 30?
Yeah, I think it's a great fit for Chris and for us, and I totally agree with his own thoughts there that where he is now as a player and where he was as an original Rocky. On the defensive side, I'm sure any player would tell you that experience is such a great teacher. And here initially, and then going to Anaheim, I know those years there with Mike and that coaching staff, he grew. Then these last 2 years in Seattle and in Arizona, I think you take away a lot of experiences from being around different coaching staffs and catching instructors and pitchers and managers. It's only natural that you're going to get better. So, I think his experience, his knowledge base, his growth of knowledge is in a really good place for us. And I see him with this staff on the starting side. Our bullpen, I think, is, you're going to see some, I think you'll see our bullpen evolve here over the off season. But he'll do a great deal of with our young pitchers. There's no doubt about it, man. There's no doubt about it.
He told me he's up to the task if you guys want him to catch 100+ games. Could you see him catching that?
Yeah, I could see that. We're not. I mean, I don't know the exact number, but over the last couple of years, it's been 90, it's been 95, it's been 100, it's been over between 300 and 400 at bats. So he's capable. I think I thought last year, watching him play as much as we did. I mean, he looked great physically. I think that. I think players nowadays understand what it means to take care of themselves, to get ready for a season, especially the catcher, and he's a bright guy. So I think, all told, he's very capable of that.
Diamondbacks had some defensive questions about his ability toward the end of the season. Were you aware of that, and how do you address
I was
that?
not aware of that. But, from what I saw, I thought he caught really well. I wasn't aware of that.
In the playoffs, it came down to Mathis or Ionetta.
Yeah, noticed that.
And they went to Mathis coming off a broken hand.
Yeah.
I don't know what that tells you.
I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll do a little homework, but I did not see that at all.
So you got 3 playoff teams in your division.
Yeah, good division.
Right. So how do you what expectations going forward in that division?
Yeah. Well, I've always felt over the course of my tenure in this division, it's always been a very, very tough division, especially on the pitching side. When you look at what Kershaw's done, what Bumgarner's done, Greinke, down the line. You look at the pitching in our division. It's really been solid. It's, the closers, even go back a decade of the closers in our division. So I think the players who have grown up in this division, Posey, Kershaw, Arenado, they realize the challenges of Goldschmidt. I mean, you keep going. This is a division of good players, and I think we all know the challenges ahead of us, and it's, I don't want to say it's fun, but it's real because there's good players, really good players.
But is it your expectation that you guys will come away from not the winter meetings, certainly off season, with some outside help for your bullpen? Is that your
Yes.
expectation?
Yeah.
There's a lot of rumors out there.
Yeah, I think that I can see that happening. I really can. Yes. Yeah. Or, well, I know this. We're gonna try to improve our club. Yeah, we're gonna try. And there's we had 3 guys who were free agents who were very instrumental in our success last year. And I know that Jeff's talked to all of them about coming back.
What do you envision for the Yankees? 2018? Do you look at primarily left field?
You know, that depends. That depends on how the team. Yeah, and that's the beauty of Ian is that, you know, and we talked about that last year, the versatility that he brings to us. You know, he played 4 positions last year, right? Played first, started a game at shortstop, played left, played center. And the game he played center and the game he played short, he played well. Remember, he made some good plays. Made some good plays. So his versatility is big, and again, that gives us great flexibility to, you know, if something arises on, you know, a player front, a trade, a free agent, that whether it's a corner outfield bat, whether it's a first baseman, that projects to get a lot of playing time. Ian's very, you know, he's very open to, you know, doing whatever he needs to do to give us the best possible lineup. So. Yeah, well, again, I think with those two guys, Trace, I think, you know, they still, you know, there's a upside to those fellas. I mean, you know, David's got to prove that he's healthy. I mean, that's first and foremost. I mean, he's got to come to spring training and play. I mean, he missed, you know, really an entire season, so he's got to get back on the horse and play. McMahon had a very good season. You know, AA, AAA numbers are legit. You know, came up in September, you know, got a taste of what it's like to be in the big leagues. But, you know, there's probably still some developmental things that he has to take care of. So, I mean, if nothing happens as far as us acquiring any players, then those guys sort of jump to the front of the line of maybe getting an opportunity. Right. You got a question? Let me.
When do you think the deals will start to crystallize?
I think George, Lou. I think they will. They have the chance to crystallize at any moment. It is really fluid.
If you're not crystallizing anything, don't hesitate to call me.
I'm going to give you a call. Okay. All right. See you, Crystallizer. Where were we? Yeah. All right. Where were we? Oh, on urgency. You know, I don't think that's the right word. I think that in a GM's chair, from observing general managers over the years, I mean, things can pop up like that can really change the course of your thinking. I mean, you have discussions with you know, the general managers, other clubs, all the time. So you sort of get a baseline and a foundation of what, you know, sort of lies ahead. But that can change at any moment. But knowing that, you know, whether it's Dahl, McMahon, Tapia, you know, further down the line, a couple guys, it sort of gives you, you know, a little bit of feeling of there's a fallback if things don't happen. And there's a little bit of, you know, you don't know what to expect from, you know, certain prospects. I think there are prospects and there are players that I think you feel really good about. That, hey, you know, given the opportunity, this guy's going to do it. You know, with Dahl, there was a sample there that, you know, gives us indication that he's going to be a pretty good player. But I think he has to reestablish himself for sure. And Ryan is still a little bit young to really know what we have. But we're going to, you know, we'll get him out there in spring training, and if it happens where, you know, he, you know, makes our team and gets at bats, we'll see. You know, I wish I had a crystal ball, but those two guys are good players, along with Tappy and others. So, but you know, last year in spring training, we knew that there were some young pitchers that were going to get an opportunity, and they got an opportunity, and they performed.
Buddy, what's your assessment of McMahon's skill level right now as a first baseman?
McMahon?
As a first baseman, We didn't get to see
You know,
him.
the thing about it, he's athletic. I think, each day that he's out there, either in game or practicing, he's going to get better because he has the movements and the body controlled coordination to be a good defender. That's his hands are good. He throws well. I think instinctively, from what I've seen, it's solid. So for him, it's just repetition to feel comfortable. I mean, we bounced him around. I mean, he played some first. He's played second base. But that's sort of a tribute to him as a player, thinking that he can handle this, because at some point in the future, we want his projected bat in the lineup. But I think wherever he plays on the diamond, he's going to do well. I think he's going to be a solid defender.
But 3 years ago, when offense was way down, a lot of people were predicting that speed was going to become a big part of the game again. It turns out that power became big. What do you think the impact? What role is speed going to have going forward, and how does it impact your team?
Well, I think that again, I'd have to go into the depths of amateur baseball to see if there's guys who can run are playing our game. I would like to think that speed will always have a place in our game. Billy Hamilton, D. Gordon, these guys are game changers, how they play. And I think it helps our game. So I hope that there are kids who have speed, who are younger, who are playing our game, can develop into major league players. But I do know that in general, athletes are getting bigger and stronger through numerous ways, strength and conditioning, nutrition. So power is happening at a greater rate, I think, than speed, because I think you can build power. You might not necessarily build speed. So, it's just common sense to me that power is coming into the game because you can build it. As a young player, as an amateur, you can't build speed. So, for speed to stay in our game or increase in our game, we need fast guys to be playing as kids. So let's do that. Let's get them off the soccer field. Get them off the lacrosse field. Let's get them on a baseball diamond. So if you guys see young, fast guys out there, get them a baseball glove for Christmas. I'm good. How are you?
When were your first exposure to Ionetta?
Early on, an early Rocky, 2007, right? I think his rookie year. He was there with Yorvit Torrealba. Hey, Torrealba, good player. I had him in 10. I thought Chris was, you could tell that I think there was a future there with him as a player. He looked the part. And I think to Patrick's question earlier, Buster, I don't know whether you were here about, I think he's at 35. I think he's, probably in a place now in his career where it's all sort of come together. The mental side, the wisdom of playing, for a number of different managers, experience that, he's in a good spot. And I think he played really well last year. I don't know, what, I got to, like I said, I don't know what happened, but I mean, I thought he caught well. I thought he moved well, and they did some things there with Mathis and Herman and him that, I thought they were well managed.
Why do you think longevity has become such a rare thing in your line of work?
I think that there's, heightened expectations. Probably the number one factor that goes into decision making on people in my line of work. That There's a few fellas that don't fall into that.
Sorry.
There's a few guys that don't fall into that, though.
Yeah.
Right? My good friend up in Anaheim.
Yeah, he's been around.
Yeah, he's been around a while. And there was, but I think that's the nature of, of what's happened really over the last 20 years of professional sports. I think it's part of what we do. There's always changes. There's a course of thinking that thinks that changing something will make it better, and sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't. The trick is knowing when to make that change.
We saw 3 playoff teams, change hands.
Yes.
When you see stuff like that, does your head spin as a fellow manager?
Well, it spins a little bit because I was close with I'm close with 2 of them. With Dusty and Johnny. I know Joe. I don't know him well, but that because I know who they are as men, as leaders, as baseball guys, and but you also realize that it's part of what we do, and it's the same in football and basketball, hockey, soccer, and some of the soccer situations. So it's part of what we do. But we know. We know what this is about, but it's it's expectation.